Hi, I'm John. This is my show, A Sports Reckoning. So, if any people that have been around my page for a little bit now, I keep changing my names and shit, right? And it's like, okay, I think it's funny because it's like, okay, yeah, that guy, he's got like some kind of split personality disorder. I like jokes and shit, right? And I like real life because real life is funny and shit, right? And I don't mind laughing at myself. And I show in that I'm not trying to build a brand. Like this page of what I do for my own personal enjoyment. But then it comes to a point where I get overwhelmed because I'm doing quality work and shit, right? And then you start to understand that the people out there that are watching your videos, they require of you to do these, put forth an effort and give out quality information and shit, right? And then so what happens when that starts happening, I get overwhelmed. And because it's like, I try to stress to people too, it's like, you need to understand that I'm doing my Michael Jackson page, it's monumentally more important than this. It's huge. It's like I've proven, I always have to say this, I've proven that Michael Jackson's real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. I've done an incredible investigation. I have years and years. I've been doing that for over 10 years. I've been investigating that. And I've in the last 4 years, it's about 4.5 years, I've had my American Scheme page. I've been able to acquire just a great deal of evidence and shit, right? And I've proven my story. I'm explaining a number of songs. I've been doing stuff. So, like, I have that. That thing's something I do. Plus, I have my real life, and I take care of my dad's got Alzheimer's and shit. So, it's like those two things alone, it's just overwhelming. And, right? So, then when I'm trying to do this page also, right? So, it's just a lot because I try and put quality information. I try and make some quality videos, and it takes a little bit of time. It requires me for me to do research, which I have to watch a lot of videos and I have to do a lot of things. Then when I put a video together, like this video right here, okay, I can put it together kind of fast because I know where to find the information and stuff, and I can put it together kind of fast. But it's still it takes time. It takes time to build the video. Then I have to make the video. Then I have to upload it, and I have to put descriptions in there and the tags and all this stuff. It just takes time, and I'm super limited on time. I only have like an hour to 2 hours a day, not every day, because a lot of times, like tomorrow I'm going to go grocery shop and I have to go to the bank. I have to do some things tomorrow. So like this time tomorrow, my personal time, I have to do other things, like sometimes when I have to go pay bills, there's other things I have to do and shit, right? So it's not every day that I have the opportunity to even do this, but it's only at this time in the morning and stuff when I have a couple little hours of free time where maybe I can do stuff, right? But so if I do a video on this page, well, then I'm not doing anything on my Michael Jackson page. So when I do stuff like this, I end up neglecting my Michael Jackson thing, which overwhelms me and shit too. And then I'm also dealing in my personal life. Like right now, I'm dealing with like withdrawals. I'm having like my addiction. So I have addictions to like smoking weed, and I have addictions to buying sports cards, and I have addictions to gambling on sports. Okay, so right now what's coming up is the Kentucky Derby's coming up. And then I have to do with there's other larger picture things. Okay, so last year when I went to bet the Kentucky Derby, so the whole state in Nevada, they didn't sign the contract because they sign contracts with the racetrack. So the Kentucky Derby is at Churchill Downs racetrack, right? So they have to sign a contract with them to be able to take the bets. That's how it works and shit, right? So what I think that happened is that now that they have all these gambling apps on the phones, I think that the Churchill Downs is telling like Nevada, they raised up the price, the percentage, or they would have lowered it and said, you're only going to get this much percentage. And the state of Nevada is like, they're not going to just bully them around and shit, right? They have so many sports books. They take a lot of action. It's a lot of money coming from the state of Nevada on a Kentucky Derby. But it's like, it also benefits them by the people coming out to bet the Kentucky Derby. Then you've got all those people in your casino. So the state of Nevada makes a lot of money. So they all play hardball with each other and stuff, right? So what happened, so last year you couldn't make a bet. It's called parimutuel wagering, which means if I go bet here in Nevada, if I bet at a casino in Nevada and I bet on the Kentucky Derby, that means I'm actually wagering like as if I was betting at Churchill Downs on the Kentucky Derby. So that means the pool of money, you're betting from the same pool of money. That's the parimutuel wagering, right? So last year, when I went to make my bet on the Derby, they said they said the contract didn't get signed. It was the whole state, so it didn't matter what casino, because sometimes it might just be like a certain casino might have little issues, but this was the whole state and shit, right? So you couldn't bet the Kentucky Derby. So that's like the thing. I did all my study, and so then you can only get house bets, but the house bets have limited odds and shit, right? So this is like what you're dealing with. It's trying to explain this stuff. It's like a lot of stuff, right? So now, like, then the year before, that was like the first year of the COVID stuff. When I went down there, it's hard to remember. Oh, so I went like the day before. I went on a Friday to bet it because the race is on Saturday. I think I went on a Friday. It was weird shit. Like I say, there's weird stuff, stuff that I don't understand. So I went to bet it, and I think I was able to bet the trifecta on a pari-mutuel wagering, but then the guy said, no, well, you can't bet the superfecta. I think he said if you come back tomorrow, you can bet the superfecta. Like I'm saying, just weird stuff that's weird. So the last 2 years, and then the Kentucky Derby before that, the year before that, that was the year that the horse was disqualified. The number 7 horse who won the race was disqualified. Okay, so I had won the superfecta. When the number 7 horse came in, I had the superfecta and the trifecta. I was going to win like at least like $40,000, right? So this is like the shit I have to deal with in my life, right? So the year before, so I had hit this superfecta, which means I'm going to hit the trifecta. If I hit the super, I'm going to hit the trifecta. So I'd hit the superfecta. The race is over. Boom. No horse has ever been disqualified from the Kentucky Derby. Then there's a woman there that's being like the judge, and that's things that happen and shit. It's like she wasn't strong enough and in place to actually understand the whole thing. And then once she made the decision, everybody had to back her and shit, and everybody backed her. But it never should have been canceled. The horse didn't do something really egregious, and he was bumped and stuff, right? But so anyways, I won the superfecta, I won the trifecta. I was going to win like $40,000, but then they take the 7 down, and then so everybody moves up a spot. So luckily I had I had the original superfecta, so when everybody moved up a spot, I still had the trifecta. Even when they canceled my 1 horse out, I still had the trifecta. So I won the trifecta on that race. I made like $11,000. But see, this is these weird things that happen in my life. It's like, okay, I just hit $11,000 on the Kentucky Derby, and I feel like I lost. It's like weird things happen to me. I have to deal with like weird shit, right? I should have hit the superfecta, which is like, that's like one of those bucket list things for me. I've hit the trifecta quite a few times, but I've never hit the superfecta, the Derby and shit, right? And gotten a big payday off of it, right? And then I did it, and then they canceled my horse and took it from me and shit, right? So I got to win like $11,000 on the trifecta, but I didn't get to cash in the superfecta, which would have been another $30,000-$40,000. Plus it would have been like a life achievement of being able to do that and shit, right? But so that was been my experience of the Derby the last few years. So now the Kentucky Derby's coming up, and this is I like to bet the Derby. It's one of the things that's like a must bet. My must bets are I bet the Kentucky Derby and I bet the football season. Those are like my must bets. In the old days when I had more time, when I wasn't taking care of my dad, like a must bet would be like the NBA playoffs. And see, that's another thing where I'm having these withdrawals. One of my favorite things to always bet through all times was the NBA playoffs. It's like, oh, I love gambling on the NBA playoffs. It's because it's every night. Good games. They're all on TV and shit. And it's like, it's all good games. It's just really, there's a lot of action available. But so I'm not betting that at all. And so I'm dealing with like these withdrawals. Like, right, so I'm dealing with the withdrawals from like, I got the Kentucky Derby coming up. But I'm like, okay, did they sign the contract this year? I have to call them. This year I'm going to call them and make sure before I go down there, make my bet. But right now I'm assuming that they've done it and stuff. But I might get screwed on it. I don't know. But so the Derby, then it's like, I want to buy some cards and shit. And so it's like, I'm thinking, well, if the Derby money doesn't come through, then I could buy some cards or I could buy some weed and shit, right? Because 420's coming up, right? Well, that's tomorrow, right? Yeah, 420's tomorrow. So it's like, all the weed shops I hear on the radio, they're all saying, "Oh, come on, 420, we got the deals." But then it's like the weed. I also have hooked up back with my old weed dealer and shit, right? He's my old school weed dealer, my gambling buddy and shit, right? I know him from a long time, and so I hooked up with him at the NFL playoffs. I came across him in the casino and shit, right? I hadn't seen him in a long time and shit. I came across him in the casino, and then he's still selling weed, and I don't know, but he's a gangster kind of dude and shit. So I have to be careful. I don't know. It's like I like him. He's a real good friend, but then he also is like a dude who's been in prison. He's like got some serious gangster fucking connections. So it's like sometimes you don't, it's like I like the dude and I could trust him, but then I can't trust him because he is a gangster. It's like one of those things like a snake. It's like, well, you knew I was a snake, motherfucker, and shit. So you got to be careful. But so I can get a better deal from my friend. But if I go to my friend, then it's like, it's like now I'm hanging out with that guy again and shit, right? And it's like I like him, but then I have to be careful because there is a part of a snake in him and shit, right? So there's a lot of shit. Or it's like I go buy some cards and shit. But then if I buy cards, it's like, well, now you're spending money on a card that's just going to sit there and shit when you should be fucking saving that money. So I'm just dealing with a lot of shit, right? So that's why my page. It's like that's why I delete my page, and it's like fuck, because I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know what to do and stuff. So it's like at times when I'm like that, I just take a step back and try and figure out what the fuck am I going to do. But so a few days ago, this is on Sports Cards Anonymous, Dakota's page. He's had his Friday Night Live, so this would have been last Friday, I believe, and. So he's got Neo and Flip and Steve were on there, and this is towards the end of the live and stuff, and they bring up the thing about Mealy Pop's involvement in the Logan Paul Pokemon sealed case scam thing, right? And so it's like, when I heard them talking about this is another thing that affected me, because it's like, god damn, and this is what I keep trying to say, is that these people that are in these type of forms of influencers in the sports card community, there's a part where it's like, okay, some of the stuff I like what they do. They do have knowledge of cards, and there's some things that they are knowledgeable and credible to speak about. But then there's other things that they're totally fucking wrong, and it takes place in their community, and that's what I'm dealing with and stuff, right? But these people are like garbage when you hear their opinion. So here, let me show you. And so I'm saying this like a fucked me up. I'm dealing with all this other stuff, and then I hear these fuckers, and it's like, dude, maybe if you would have taken a fucking few minutes and watched some of my fucking work, you would have seen clearly that Mealy Pops had to be involved, that Logan Paul thing was a scam from the beginning, that Logan Paul was involved in the scam when Mealy Pops bought the box. The end game was for Logan Paul to end up with it, the whole thing. I've exposed the whole thing, but Rattle Pokemon is involved. All of them. The whole thing is a scam. And these stupid fucking idiots, is what I keep saying, is they all reported upon that Logan Paul case scam, right? But now I've come and done a real fucking investigation. Have any of them fucking done any research into the work I've done? No. And then it's like, and then Flip and Steve just sits there, and it's like, I don't know if Flip and Steve has seen any of my work, but even if he did, he's not the kind of person that's going to stand up and defend me. He's not going to invoke my name into a conversation with these insiders in the sports card community. He's not going to invoke my name and say, let's say my name was Orange is the New Black at that time. He's not going to say, yeah, you know the John Orange is the New Black, he was been investigating that shit, and there's no way that Mealy Pops didn't know what he was getting involved in, right? Flip and Steve's the kind of person at that point, he'll just sit back and hold his tongue. He won't say anything. And that's where it's kind of thing, it's like, I like Flip and Steve, he's really cool, but there's parts of the stuff where it's like, dude, you're not a Jedi. You're not fighting for the fucking good of all mankind, because when it came time for you to give your opinion here, but see, and I can't say that you have seen my work. I don't know that you've seen my work on that stuff. So and then that frustrates me too and shit, right? But he didn't say anything. It's just like, so it just gets me frustrated and shit, right? So here, let's listen to Dakota and fucking Neo here for a second, and then I'm going to show you a bunch of stuff here, and then I'll show you, like, I had to pull up all these videos, so because I can't just accuse them and not give you fucking evidence. So I got to pull up the evidence and shit. That's it's crazy. It takes a lot of time. So here we go. Let me just listen to this.
He's a seller, and for me, like, I don't like show content that much. I like Kenny Fornos from a buyer's perspective and Mealy Pops from a seller's perspective. I love watching Mealy Pops' seller perspective videos.
He has a big shop in Florida. Or not a big shop, but he has a shop in Florida, and he does the show circuit, and he has a YouTube channel and stuff. But yeah, I thought his post-show breakdowns were good. I don't think he does them anymore, but
I do still think that Card Kahuna fished Mealy Pops into that deal and used his name to push it. That's my opinion. But yeah, I don't think Mealy Pops did anything bad. I think he got had, is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see how Neo and Dakota, no, I don't think Mealy Pops did anything bad. It's like, god damn, dude. And Neo's like, yeah, I don't think Neo did anything. I don't think Mealy Pops did anything bad and shit, right? Because Mealy Pops' place in the community has not really been damaged. His reputation in the community has not really been damaged. And that's like part of what I'm saying is, like, it didn't matter that he did it. As long as the community backed him, all these people that he's connected with, these insiders, they're all fucking connected and shit. As long as that they're all fucking, if none of those people fucking condemn him, then all these stupid little influencers down here, these low-level influencers, they'll just follow in line and they're not going to condemn him either. And that's what I'm saying about these low-level fucking influencers influencer people, they don't have the balls to fucking stand up and fucking attack these motherfuckers and to make accusations against them because they're all worried about fucking being not able to sell cards at the fucking card shows and shit, or being looked down upon because instantly all those big motherfuckers who are controlling the shit, who are actually evil, like the people like Jimmy's Kentucky Roadshow, you know, then you had like the Mark's Cards thing that was going on. He was in scamming everybody. Nobody gave a fuck until it got exposed, and that's what's going to happen with these people. They keep getting exposed. Everybody getting exposed. There's a lot of fucking bad shit going on here, really bad. And then when one of them gets exposed, it depends on how big the problem is and stuff, but then the other people, they don't want to fucking talk bad about them. It's just ridiculous and shit, right? So here, let's go into showing you some evidence. Now, this is Mojo Sports talking to Mealy Pops at the National last year and shit, right? So here, listen to what he asked him here.
You guys have you're good with your customer service, man. I've seen you on videos.
It's all these
deals.
people. It's all these guys.
It takes a team, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, man.
What advice do you have for somebody that's, you know, just entering the community with all the ups and downs in the card collecting?
I said just have to make sure you do your homework. You know what I mean? Don't jump into this crazy. You know what I mean? And not know like card values. I mean, we're on a down right now, so you lose a lot of money. But
Okay, so make sure you do your homework. You know, don't just jump into this and not know the card values, which also means you got to know that the card's real. The card value, the value of the card is only like valued if it's real. So right there, you got to do your homework. You have to know the value of what this product is you're holding. This is Mealy Pop's number one advice to the people. But Neo and Dakota are going to sit there and say, oh, Mealy Pops didn't know what he was getting into. And it's like, dude, what do you mean? He did it. He not only did he did it, he hyped it up, put it on his fucking page as the most historic, it's labeled, most historic Pokemon sale in fucking history. But did he ever authenticate that? Did he ever actually know what he was getting into? And so now I have a bunch of stuff here, so I'm not sure which ones. Let's look. Okay, so here. When you're talking about chain of custody, okay, when you're dealing with something that, remember, that box sold for $3.5 million, okay? So when you're talking about purchasing something for $3.5 million, there has to be like a chain of custody. You want to know, where did this box come from? What's the origins of this box, right? And so the origins looks like it came from this guy, this Justin Martin, right? There he is with the box and shit. He's in this fucking junky house looking like shit, like a total loser. This is supposed to be the origin story, right? So now, you're going to tell me Logan Paul is going to pay $3.5 million and this is the origin story? There's no origin story. It's not like there's a story like that, okay, the Burbank Cards guy, right? And let's say that the Burbank Cards guy had said, oh, this was a box that I was given from my friend who was a dealer of Pokemon cards, and we made a trade, and I traded this directly with him. Like the origin story then would be like, okay, well this origin story, it originated from this fucking Pokemon shop and this dealer, and then it went to the Burbank Cards guy's shop, and he sat on it. You know, he thought it was a good thing just to sit on as an investment, and he sat on it, and now it's come up for available for sale. You see how the chain of custody, how the origin story, if that was the story, then it's like, okay, people would be like, shit, no need to really authenticate it. That's a good story. I don't even need to authenticate it because you would trust the origin story and the chain of custody so much, right? But this box did not have that. And if it doesn't have that, that means you got to have to investigate and make sure that the thing is legit before anybody could ever fucking put it up for sale, right? But what happens is Jacob and Jamil go and buy that box, and they instantly go take it to the BBCE, who has never authenticated a sealed case of Pokemon before. He's never done that. He does packs and shit, but he's never done this. He's never done a sealed case. His expertise is not in this, okay? So now you're telling me that this guy, so first of all, Mealy Pops and Jacob, people that, the Jacob, I believe, has a background in Pokemon and stuff, right? So first of all, you're telling me that their expertise, as being the experts that they were, that they had to, at this point, for them to take it to him, that means that they have looked it over and they've done their research and they believe it. They believe it. That's what your guys are telling me. For you to say that Mealy Pops didn't know what he was doing, you're saying that at this point he was already convinced, and then that BBG just validated all the evidence and research of what they've already done, then he just validated. And so they take it to the guy instantly and get him to rap it instantly, and we know that it's fake. Okay, so we know that whatever research of what he did was not real research. And don't you think that Jacob and Jamil, like the Mealy Pops guy, don't you think he would have said, well, what are you doing? How did you verify this? Did you weigh it? Do you have the specifications of what this is supposed to weigh, of what the fucking case, the actual dimensions of what this case should look like? Have you checked the serial numbers on here? Have you tracked this stuff? Remember, this is something that's going to be worth millions of dollars. They'd be willing to pay him quite a bit of money to do some research, but they went in and got it done in like a couple hours. You're going to tell me that he did the proper amount of research of what he would need to do to authenticate that in a couple hours? Something that could have taken him maybe a couple weeks if he would have done it properly. If he would have went, and they would have paid him. That would have been worth $100,000 to these two guys. For Jacob and Jamil, anybody out there not going to tell me that it would have been worth $100,000 to get that thing authenticated. If it was real, if they believed it to be real, then why wouldn't they have paid $100,000, let him take 2 weeks of investigation and make sure? But no, what did they do? They instantly took it to him. He wrapped it within a couple hours, and they walk out of there saying that this is real. They never investigated. They never did anything. And I just showed you on the video of Mealy Pops himself, the person that Neo and fucking Dakota are saying, oh, I trust him. He didn't do anything wrong. Oh, really? You're the guy that knows the most important fucking thing is to do your research to make sure you understand what the value of the fucking thing is. Did he do any of that? Absolutely not. Because this is a scam. The scam is to get it wrapped and give it the illusion. It's the illusion that they're doing the job. And who's guilty when you have all these different actors involved here? You have all these different people. Who are you placing the blame on? Is it this guy or is it this guy? It's too much confusion. And all you stupid people out there are lost in the confusion. So you just resort to say, oh, well, I like Mealy Pops the best. And so, well, I'm not going to blame Mealy Pops. They're fucking losers, man. So then you got... Okay, so then it's like the next day. They sell it like within like 1 day. And then Shine is a fucking serious dude himself. Shine is not the kind of dude who's just gonna go drop $2.7 million fucking dollars on a box with no fucking chain of custody. There is no fucking origin story. It doesn't have any of that stuff. But here's Shine being the salesman, and he's pumping the box up too, like, oh, it's perfect, it's perfect. It's not. It never was perfect because we know it wasn't real. So you can't tell me that Rattle just comes by and, oh, Rattle broke the whole fucking story. It's bullshit. Now watch, let's listen to these guys talking about this fucking box. Shine would not be talking about it this way. Mealy Pops would not be talking about it this way. They never did a fucking real investigation. This is a scam. And now you've got another guy. Well, who's guilty? Well, did this guy do it? Who? Nobody knew. No, they were all fooled. Bullshit. None of these dudes could have been fooled like this. The only reason that they're fooled is because they're paid to look like fucking chumps, because the end game is to have it end up in Logan Paul's hands and have it exposed at the right time by Rattle Pokemon, the plant. He's planted there to fucking expose it. So that it can link up with the launching of the Prime Drink Company for Logan Paul, so he can get all this free advertisement into the Prime Drink Company. The end game. That's what it's about.
You don't have to go through all that. You don't have to go through that song and dance like this.
Okay, you don't have to go through all that. You don't have to go through that song and dance. Bullshit! Bullshit! It's fake. You always have to go through the song and dance and prove that it's real. This thing was not real. How are you trusting the authentication? Like I said, if it had come from Burbank Cards and his origin story was he got it from a guy who was a known Pokemon dealer and then he sat on it, okay, you can trust that. And that would be the thing. You don't have to worry about it with this because look at where it came from. And then you know if it turns out to be fake, that you can trust that Burbank's Cards is going to reimburse you and shit, right? You can trust. It's like, well, here's some trustworthy people. But this had none of that. That means you've got to overdo the extra fucking, you got to go the extra fucking mile. You got to make sure. You got to make sure it's real. And did they do that? They absolutely did not do it because they're all pulling a fucking scam.
He saw it, no, these are all legit. He was so blown away. He looked at it and he's like, wow. He said, this thing was kept in good shape. This is
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a modern day museum piece. There's Mealy Pops. You're telling me he didn't know, he just got suckered into this. He's here acting like a salesman, telling you this could be a modern day museum piece when he did know he had, the origin story wasn't there. There's no good origin story, and it was wrapped in a couple hours by BBCE, who has never fucking wrapped this before, and now they're all just washing their hands saying, oh, it's perfect, it's so perfect. Oh, look how good it looks and shit. And you're not going to blame Mealy Pops for his participation in this? It's fucking ridiculous. You guys are stupid as fuck, man. Now, here's Logan Paul. Before he bought that case, now he's doing a charity event where he's going to be opening up a sealed box, one of those boxes that's supposed to be in that case, the same type of box. Now he's doing a charity event, right? So on this, he doesn't want to look bad. He doesn't want to look bad. He can't look bad on this. This thing has to be real. And when it has to be real, he gets it authenticated properly. Now let's listen to how he gets it authenticated.
Opening this box, which I bought for, I think, $350,000 from...
Okay, so really quick, he paid $350,000 for this box, which this video was, okay, so this is me talking and shit, so it's like, let's try and go. Okay, let's see if we can catch it now here.
A little handheld view here. The reason this box has stickers on it is because it's legit. Rusty, the original owner of the box, opened it and weighed the packs to make sure that it was a legitimate box because, you know, Pokemon's becoming essentially modern day art pieces, and as the value increases, more and more people are trying to create counterfeit boxes. You trust...
Okay, so right there, he just told you that Pokemon's become a modern day art piece, and because it's become so valuable, more and more people are trying to fake it. And how was it verified? From the guy who he got it from. The guy actually opened up the box and weighed each individual pack. Okay, that's how it was verified. And then after that, he still paid $350,000 for it in that condition. He still paid for that in that condition, and the box was real. It opened up. There was Charizards in there. There was everything of what you would want in the box and shit, right? So there's Logan Paul before the fucking sealed case scam telling you he knows how to fucking authenticate. He knows how to fucking authenticate a box, and he knows how to weigh it. He knows other people that would know how to authenticate it, everything, right? But so then you get, here's Rattle. After Rattle exposes the stuff, and after the Prime Drink Company stuff has all come out, then Rattle starts doing more investigative videos on his page, but while he's doing that, he's doing commercials for Prime Drink, because he's a plant.
Remember, you can't bribe Rattle Pokemon.
You can't bribe Rattle Pokemon while he's sitting there with a Prime Drink with a Prime Drink right in front of him. Remember, you can't bribe me while he's sitting there doing advertisement for Logan Paul's Prime Drink Company. These are my videos. These are my videos that I'm pulling up and shit, right? So it's like, and then so like when I'm pulling them up and stuff, it's choppy. It's like I know this is the part I kind of want to. There's enough in it, but I don't know exactly what's gonna happen and stuff. So that's enough to show you of the evidence and stuff that these are videos I've done showing you that from the chain of custody, it was broken from the beginning up until the end point. All the buyers of this never ever investigated it properly, and I showed you that the people that are there investigating it, Mealy Pops, I showed you that he understands what it means to fucking investigate and understand what you're dealing with. He didn't do it with this one. Shine is talking shit like, look at, this is perfect. You don't have to do anything. Now, if I'd show you more background origin with Shine's a legitimate guy. He's a big guy. You're going to tell me he's just going to give up a couple $1 million without a proper origin story just because the box kind of might look like it's right? And then I showed you Logan Paul telling you that there's frauds in this thing. In order for the case to be right and have it done right, it needs to be opened and weighed and actually checked out and shit, right? He knows how to do it, and he showed you, I showed you a video showing you that he fully is aware of that, right? But what happened on this case? None of that happened. None of it happened with any of them because the whole thing from the beginning was intended to be a scam for the end result for Logan Paul to be exposed by Rattle Pokemon, who then after that starts doing commercials for Prime Drink Company, just as like what I've been saying this whole and fucking entire time, that this thing is an entire scam so Logan Paul could look like a fucking putts so he could get free advertisement for his Prime Drink company, which was launching at the same time of where the case was exposed as a fraud. That's the whole thing I've been saying the whole time. And the evidence, if you actually look at what's going on, you can see that they're all involved in it. And we don't know the bigger picture of how they're being paid off by Logan Paul. We don't know the connections that were made for them with Gary Vee and like Zero Cool and Fanatics and Josh Kluber. We don't know the connections of who these people actually got to be connected with in that inside crowd that's running and controlling the fucking environment. But we do know, one thing that we do know for sure is that Neo and Dakota Sports Cards Anonymous are fucking total fucking losers who have no fucking business giving any form of opinions about anything that actually fucking matters in the sports card community. You could tell me that you like your shiny little pretty cards and you like this shiny little player, but anything that takes any fucking actual ability of doing research, investigation, having a brain to stand up and actually care about the world, you guys are fucking losers. You got no business putting your fucking opinion into matters that fucking need investigation done on it. You're fucking losers. You're frauds. You will not stand up against the fucking community leaders who push you around and tell you how to think. They tell you how to act. They control your life because you're fucking slave bitches, motherfucking losers.